Did the Miami Heat's backup plan, if they miss out on a Kevin Durant trade, already get leaked? Well, there is a report out there that the Heat are expected to show interest in trading for the Kings forward DeMar DeRozan if they do not get KD, and actually already had exploratory talks on a potential DeRozan trade. And I'll say this right off the rip. I do not like this whatsoever. We put out a video, I think, 2.5 weeks ago about a report that the Heat could show interest on trading for DeMar DeRozan, a player they had interest in making a move on last offseason, potentially trying to add him to Hero, Jimmy, and Bam. That didn't work out because they didn't have the financial flexibility to do this, but I am not a fan of trading for DeMar DeRozan, and I think I said that just 2.5 weeks ago when we had that video. And the part that is the most concerning to me is this one. The original report that we're talking about today came from James Ham, a local reporter for the Sacramento Kings, is on ESPN Radio. He said on his show just yesterday that the Kings have been telling agents that there is a high possibility they could be picking in the early 20s. They currently do not have a draft pick in the 20s of the NBA draft. So they are telling people that there is a solid chance that they could acquire a draft pick in that range of the NBA draft. And when you put 2 and 2 together of the Heat having pick number 20 and then them having interest in DeRozan if they don't get KD, well, could there possibly be a trade where you give the 20th pick up for DeMar DeRozan? Before we get into that, I do want to know your thoughts. Pick a player. Would you rather trade, let's just say, Kel'el Ware, Andrew Wiggins, and Duncan Robinson for Kevin Durant, or would you rather trade other players that aren't as big named in valuable assets, if you will, for DeMar DeRozan? Type KD for Kevin Durant or type DD for DeMar DeRozan? I'll say this right now. If the Heat trade a first-round pick for DeMar DeRozan, I might have to take a year off. That would be the dumbest decision that I have ever seen a front office make, parentheses, outside of Luka Doncic. Like, in all seriousness, 35, 36-year-old DeMar DeRozan, who barely plays any defense, only shoots 15-foot mid-range shots and gets to the free throw line. Like, there is no world where he elevates you by himself to anything that you were trying to aspire to be. Heck, I am not even sure if you added DeMar DeRozan to this team, you would be able to scratch your way out of the play-in. You might still be a 7 or 8 seed because that's what DeMar DeRozan does best, get his team to the play-in. And if you gave up a first-round pick for that, I would be furious. There would be no way that you justify that being a good decision. None. Like, this is the package that I would offer the Sacramento Kings if you were actually interested in DeRozan. I am not doing anything more. Nothing. Terry Rozier, Hawkes, and a second-round pick for DeRozan. That is my take it or leave it offer. I understand that you could trade Rozier and a first-round pick and just get off Rozier's contract and then have DeRozan, who's a better player, obviously, and all of his contract is not guaranteed next year in the final year, so you could have cap relief next offseason. But I am also not in the business of attaching a first-round pick to get rid of Terry Rozier. Is he terrible? Absolutely. But that $26.6 million is actually value in expirings, and I'm not packaging a first-round pick to get off of it. If Rozier still had 2 years left at his deal, okay, I would attach a first-round pick. But it's only one. And although DeRozan has been one of the best scorers in the NBA over the last decade, you see how he kind of continues to decline a little bit. He doesn't shoot threes. He does not space the floor. And I am just trying to envision a fit in Miami where it actually works out. Because to me, if you made that trade for DeRozan and you now have your front court be DeRozan, Bam, and Kel'el Ware, like, there is not a consistent floor spacer there. Bam is not a consistent three-point shooter yet. DeRozan has never been one. And Kel'el Ware hasn't shown the ability to do that consistently either. Like, I don't think it would fit offensively. DeRozan barely plays any defense, so I guess you could play him at the 4 defensively and have Bam guard the wings on the perimeter like you would do if you added KD and kept Kel'el Ware in that hypothetical. But DeRozan doesn't change anything for you. So offering a first-round pick would be a monumental disaster of a decision in my eyes. And I'll tell you right now, if it happened, they miss out on KD, they trade a first for DeRozan, we'll go live and I'll be shredding the move. There's no doubt about that. But make sure you are subscribed to the channel because we're going to continue to bring you the best coverage around the Miami Heat, in season, out of season, trade rumors, trade actual news, signings, draft talk. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any content we put out. Now, I'm not going to try to sit here and act like DeMar DeRozan wouldn't help the Heat in some capacity. There are two things that DeRozan does at an exceptional level that would actually help Miami. And I don't want to act like he is the worst player in the NBA. I am just very, very much against him being your only move and if you actually trade a first-round pick for him. But DeRozan last season had a 33.7% free throw rate, very good, and averaged 5.7 free throw attempts a night, which was 12th best in the NBA. The Heat, once they traded Jimmy Butler, were one of the worst teams in the NBA getting to the charity stripe. So DeRozan would be able to fill some of that void that was left after Jimmy Butler was traded because he gets to the line 9 times, 10 times a night. That ability to create easy points was severely missed in the second half of the year. DeRozan would help cover that off a little bit. But he is also one of the most clutch players in the NBA, and I do give him a lot of credit for that. Miami was the worst clutch team in the NBA. In offensive rating, in net rating, in points per game, they were all bottom 5, bottom 3, or absolutely dead last season. Well, DeRozan played in a lot of clutch games last season, and when you look at his individual performances, he was top 15 in the NBA in pretty much almost metric outside of field goal percentage. In the final 5 minutes, when the game is within 5 points, that is what is defined as a clutch game. See DeRozan, 5th in points per game, 16th in free throw percentage, 15th in offensive rating and net rating while having one of the highest usage percentages in the clutch. Like, he is good when it matters most, and you can maybe point to his ability to get to a spot in the mid-range and the free throw line consistently. I will not act that trading for DeRozan would be the worst decision ever. If you traded for DeMar DeRozan and was a Rozier Hawkes second-round package, I would not be that upset. But I'll say this. The only way I'm cool with trading for DeMar is if it is the package I said of Hawkes, Rozier in a second, but you also have to make another trade for a legit top-end starting point guard. Like, if you were to just trade for DeRozan, re-sign Davion Mitchell, draft the player at the 20th overall slot, and have a team of Davion, Hero, DeMar, Ware, Bam, draft pick, and run it back with some of your bench pieces like Jovic and Paul Larson, I would not be happy. That's a marginal move. It's just a move that will not change anything. And maybe you can argue it's like, all right, we'll be a little bit more competitive. We didn't have to give up any first-round picks, and we can release DeRozan next year with only a partial guarantee and save some pretty money on the cap and potentially go after a good free agent if there's available. I can understand that line of thinking. But to me, trying to sell the fan base on DeMar DeRozan after missing out on Kevin Durant, to me, is just kind of disingenuous almost. Like, it's just a bad way to conduct your business, in my opinion. And coming up in just 1 second, we will have our daily Kevin Durant updates. You can't come to the Heat Report at this point in the offseason without getting a KD update. But before we get there, I want to showcase the Heat's draft hats for the 2025 NBA Draft. I think they're pretty sweet. You got the black curve brim, the white flat brim. Heck, they even got a bucket hat, which I think is really cool that they added that this season. Get yours today before the draft actually comes. It's 1 week away on Wednesday, June 25th. You can get yours today at chatsports.com/Heat2025 draft hats. Every shape, every size. Grab yours today. Links in the description and comments of today's video. Let's segue to Mr. Durantula, KD. Let's check in on the latest around Mr. Sniper. And I think we'll start here with Sam Amick. From yesterday's video to today's video, there's a lot that come out. It feels like there is so much that comes out every single day, and we might be in this 48-hour window where a trade could actually go down. Well, Sam Amick on Durant said that Minnesota is not going to play ball in terms of offering their package and agreeing to a deal until they get the signal that Kevin Durant wants to play there. Obviously, we know that KD's preferred teams are the San Antonio Spurs, who have shown no interest in a Durant trade at this point, the Houston Rockets, and Miami Heat. So if KD doesn't change his stance on being okay playing in Minnesota, I don't think the Timberwolves are willing to offer what Phoenix wants for a potential one-year rental, and I don't blame Minnesota. They would be better next season, sure, but why shake up the roster, give out young players and a draft pick for a guy that you're going to only keep 1 year when you probably aren't going to be better than the Oklahoma City Thunder? Now, then this does impact Miami and potentially Houston Rockets. And Brian Windhorst actually said it perfectly this morning on his podcast. If you're Houston, who's shown some interest but hasn't been willing to put together an offer that seems to compel Phoenix, I am not increasing my offer for Durant at all. If I'm Houston or Miami, I'm like, okay, I'll sit here and wait with this. I'm holding it. And that is referring to the Suns asking for maybe a little bit too much right now. And with KD not wanting to go to the Minnesota Timberwolves or Toronto Raptors, those two teams could offer good packages. But if they're not willing to actually agree to the deal and only have the package on the table, then it's going to come down to Houston or Miami. And then those two teams can wait and be like, yeah, we're ready. We're in a game of chicken. Who's going to blink first? And it feels like I know exactly what the game of chicken is. If you put pieces and pieces together, it sounds like Miami's offer to this point, regardless of Twitter speculation, is what we've said on the channel for a while. It's going to be Wiggins, Duncan, Jovic, and the 20th overall pick. And if you look over at Houston's side of things, it's probably going to be the 10th overall pick, Jalen Green, and Dylan Brooks. That's kind of what it feels like right now. But what does Phoenix want? They want Kel'el Ware from Miami, and they want Jabari Smith from the Rockets, because they do not want Jalen Green. So they would take the 10th pick, Jabari Smith and Brooks, and reroute Jalen Green to a third team. And with Miami and Houston, they're kind of in this game of chicken. Who's going to bust first? Who's going to blink? Who is going to offer that young player first? Will it be Houston with Jabari, or will it be Miami with Ware? If one of those two teams budged on that, I think we would see a trade get done. And if it doesn't happen, and KD keeps his stance, well, then I think Phoenix is just going to have to come down to the ultimatum of, do they prefer Jalen Green, the 10th pick, and Brooks, or Wiggins, Duncan, Jovic in the 20th? And that's how the decision will ultimately come to fruition. So predict it for me. What team trades for KD? Is it going to be Miami? Is it going to be Houston? Is it going to be Minnesota? Does not sound like San Antonio is interested in the slightest, and they are holding on to their assets for a potential bigger fish that fits their timeline better. So I am no longer considering San Antonio a threat. It feels like it's Minnesota, Miami, or Houston at this point. And it seems like Minnesota has the best package. Like, we just talked about how the Timberwolves aren't willing to agree to the deal because KD hasn't given them the signal to that he wants to be there and would stay there, and they don't want to do that year of a rental. But it also sounds like the offer has been leaked. So, like, this package from Minnesota is on the table. But they're like, hey, Phoenix, this is what we're willing to offer. But we are not going to agree to a deal until Kevin Durant actually signals he's okay coming here. Gobert, DiVincenzo. It was reported that it's either Dillingham and Terrence Shannon Jr. or Terrence Shannon Jr. So Dillingham or Terrence Shannon Jr. and then the Timberwolves 17th overall pick. And if we're going to be quite frank, I don't care if the Heat include Kel'el Ware or the Rockets include Jabari Smith. This is the best package Minnesota's going to get. You get a all-defensive center, a good complementary guard piece, a good young player, and a 17th overall selection. Miami can't top that. They can't. It's just all about if KD changes his stance or not. And if he doesn't change his stance, I don't think Minnesota's going to make the deal, which then brings him right into the Miami and Houston wheelhouse. Continue to hit that sub button if you have not already, because we bring out daily content. We'll have you covered on everything around this basketball team. And if you're still watching the video and are not subscribed, what are you doing? Clearly like what we're bringing to the table, so join the channel today.